in Reno, Nevada, and a Saudi prince plans construction of a $300 billion multicultural metropolis. Those stories and more coming up. You're listening to Bloomberg, the first word. Time now for Bloomberg Travel Weather. A look at conditions around the country from the Bloomberg Weather Center.
Business travelers, an offshore storm system east of New England may produce some sporadic travel delays in parts of the Northeast today due to passing showers and thunderstorms. We could see a few of those move through the New York City area today. High temperatures in New York today around 82 degrees. Boston will see variably cloudy skies. Some widely scattered showers are possible. So a few minor delays, highs near 70 in Boston. Washington, a few widely scattered showers and thunderstorms could produce delays, particularly this morning and into the early afternoon hours. Washington will have a high of 83. If you're traveling to Atlanta, it'll be mostly sunny today, 86. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible today in Raleigh. There could be a few delays, highs near 87. Orlando today, scattered thunderstorms, 89. In our next report, we'll take a look at travel conditions in the central United States. I'm Bloomberg meteorologist Rob Carrollhead.
We bring you travel weather every half hour at 5 and 35 past the hour. All through the day, only on Bloomberg on satellite radio. Now it's time for a Bloomberg Radio window onto the web. A daily look at how you can get more out of Bloomberg on satellite radio by visiting Bloomberg.com. You'll find many of the same Bloomberg news stories, tools, and data that we use at Bloomberg Radio to prepare our broadcasts. Here's Bloomberg technology reporter Fred Fishkin.
If you hear a story on Bloomberg on satellite radio and want to know more, you can probably find an expanded print version of the story by searching our website archives. You can select stories by date or by importance to you. Enter keywords in the blue search box at the top of the Bloomberg.com homepage. You'll be brought to a list of headlines. Choose the one you want to read more about, and the story appears in full detail.
Thank you.
Prefer to do a search based on date.
Oh, no.
I like to
Of course.
sort by date at the top of the headline index. And a new list will appear showing the latest headlines first. That's a window onto the web. I'm Fred Fishkin, and this is Bloomberg on satellite radio. 9:37 on Wall Street. I'm Ken Poole.
And I'm Karen Moscow. This is Bloomberg, the first word.
Said its employment index held at 18% for July through September. The report suggests employers still want to expand payrolls even with the weakest pace of economic growth in 4 years.
Companies including Bombardier, Honeywell, and Goodrich are expanding their aerospace operations in Mexico. Canadian jet maker Bombardier moved up its timetable to build the fuselages in Mexico by 3 years after workers exceeded production schedules for wire harnesses. Honeywell began operations with simple manufacturing of heat exchangers. It'll soon employ Mexican engineers to test electrical systems of new commercial jets from Boeing and Airbus SAS. Goodrich Chief Executive Marshall Larson said Mexico will play an increasingly important role in the operations of the world's largest supplier of aircraft landing gear.
It's going to build, and it will be an important part of our margin story as we get out, 2 to 4 years from now.
He spoke in a conference call on April 26. Mexico's aerospace industry is building on the country's track record in autos. Mexico produces almost 2 million vehicles a year for Toyota, General Motors, Ford, and other car makers.
Lawyers around the world may follow the lead of Australia's Slater and Gordon. The personal injury firm became the first to sell shares to the public and raised $29 million in an IPO. Lawmakers in the UK will vote later this year on a bill that would allow British law firms to list shares by the year 2010. American lawyers say they're watching developments in the UK to see if the law gives competitors there an advantage. Now, here in the U.S., generally, state laws and legal association rules prohibit non-lawyers from investing in law firms. Shares of Slater and Gordon are up 70% since its IPO.
A case of securities fraud is dividing the Bush administration. The Justice Department has decided not to file a brief in support of investors who say they were defrauded out of billions of dollars. The Securities and Exchange Commission had asked the Justice Department to side with investors in a case involving Enron. Enron shareholders are suing Merrill Lynch, Credit Suisse, and other investment banks. The investors...
Thomas and Friends wooden train sets, which were coated at a Chinese factory with lead paint that can harm brain cells. The Times said
says a spokeswoman for RC2 Corp, which sells the Thomas & Friends toys, declined to comment on safety control methods at its facilities in China. The number of Chinese products being recalled has doubled in the last 5 years, reaching a record 467 last year. China makes 70 to 80% of the toys sold in the U.S. Japan's Nikkei average gained about 0.1% to finish at 18,163. China's
It's a beautiful morning. I'm going to film it. I know it, dear. It's going to take a miracle. Well, and we believe that
every Saturday at noon and 24/7 on XM Online. The agenda only on XM. Listen, laugh, and learn.
and we need your help.
No, nunca puede ser. En Pacífica nunca puede ser de manga corta. Jamás.
They've been living in Malaysia and traveling to Southeast Asia, whereas
Oh,
got a bunch of the
What decides to turn into a submarine. I've got all the bases covered. I've got basic life jacket here. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this piece of equipment here. Now for my famous demonstration, which has been duplicated the world over. You open it up like so, like this, put your head right through it, take the strap, bring it all the way around the back, clip it onto the front, you swim back to Maui. Does anybody have any questions? How far is it? It's a decent swim. It'll probably take you about 20 minutes. Where are these or how many? Those are really good questions. There's somewhere along the lines of 90 adult life jackets. I also have children's ones for the kids that are under 90 pounds. And the location is also a very good question. Some of you, whether out of sheer... And you've been on board for 2 minutes and 30 seconds already. So enjoy the final stages of the harbor tour as we pull out, depending on traffic, of course. But this is, for its size, probably one of the busiest small boat harbors in all of the United States. All different numbers of water sports taking place here. Just at a glance, scuba diving is behind us.
oh, thank you. All right. I blew that one. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Snorkel boats, sport fishing, parasailing, all kinds of stuff. If you're on a sunset dinner cruise at some point in your trip, chances are it's probably out of here. So Lahaina Harbor is a very busy place.
Remember the horn blower
Has
yacht?
been for quite some time. Let's see, one of the buildings, also historic, the courthouse behind you. Before it was a courthouse, it was actually the seat of the Hawaiian Kingdom when Lahaina was the world capital. I'm talking about way before it moved to Honolulu and before statehood. I believe it was Kamehameha III that ruled the kingdom right from here in Lahaina. So she's rich in history, and that history also kind of interwoven with the whaling industry that was big here. And much of which is still kind of visible. Much of the storefronts down here on Front Street, the Pioneer Inn, unchanged. Lahaina is now a historic district, the entire town, so much of it looks the same. So that concludes the harbor tour. That's it. Now we're going to turn the corner, get a move on out here. You'll see the watercolor change. A little bit of surf action taking place today too, which is always fun. The waves, let's say, aren't that big today. We'll call this a lull in the action at the main. But there's some little waves today here at Breakwall. Usually quite a few waves. Surf school usually in session over there where the crowds are. So a nice place to get out into the water and have a little bit of fun. Sure. Yeah, so but the banyan tree that's right in front. Yeah, the banyan tree looks like a whole bunch of trees. Yeah, the banyan tree is one tree, I believe, that either is or is one of the oldest trains in the United States. Something like that. Yeah, it's very interesting. It just as is it's a historic landmark here. Abandoned trees, famous landmark here. So we're on the way out. Let's see, what can we talk about here? Any first timers to the island? First timers to Hawaiian Island, Maui in particular. Always have quite a few on board. Now, Maui is a very unique island in itself, but West Maui, you can look out from West Maui and you can see 3 different Hawaiian islands. Now, if you go to a lot of different places in the Hawaiian Island chain or different places on the island of Maui, you will look out and you're going to see water all the way to the horizon. But here, very fortunate to get a really interesting view of 3 different Hawaiian islands. And all the different islands have nicknames. Maui right behind us happens to be called the Valley Isle because between the 2 mountain ranges behind us, the West Maui Mountains, doing what they do pretty annually, that's get a lot of rain. And then you have Haleakala, which you can kind of see stretching out there in the distance. Between the 2 huge mountain ranges, you have a very large valley that was used for a very long time in making sugarcane. So that's why Maui's called the Valley Isle. It's a very fertile green valley between the 2 mountain ranges. Now the other islands also have nicknames. To our north, it's difficult to see today out there in the clouds with a little bit of rain. If you look on the left side there, the edge, you can see the island of Molokai. Now Molokai, last I checked, the population is somewhere around 6,000 people, something like that, compared to the 120,000 that we have here on Maui. It's very well known for camping, hiking, not a lot of commercialization. If you want to get lost, that would be a great place to do that. Now it's also had a couple different nicknames. Now her history, what she's most famous for is a leper colony that was over there many, many years ago. So that was for a very long time known as the Leper Isle. Now as tourism became more popular in the 1960s, for some reason or another, not a whole lot of people wanted to go visit the Leper Isle. Go figure. So what they did to draw a few more folks was temporarily switched it to the Friendly Leper Isle, which happened to work while they had the Leper Isle. But they were figuring out which part of that nickname was working and what part wasn't, which is why today it is the Friendly Isle, Molokai. Now, that's island number 1. Island number 2, which is here off of our right-hand side, is the island of Lanai. Lanai is the pineapple isle, simply because for a very long time the gold company produced about 1/8 of the world's pineapple. Now the island over there. Now they used to have less people on it than Molokai does. Somewhere around 3,000-4,000 people reside there permanently. No more pineapples over there. That production moved to the Philippines. What they do produce is hang around the harbor in the morning. You'll see some golfers ready to go over. There's a couple of world-class golf courses. They have some resorts. It also has incredible scuba diving off its coast. And most of the sport fishing boats that you will see taking off in the morning go off the nice southern coast around the backside. So it offers great activities as well. Both of these places you can get to on a Easter Island ferry for the day. You take off from Lahaina, go check them out, and come back in the afternoon. And there's one more island that you can see from West Maui, and it's out in front here. It's probably the least known of all of them. It's the island of Ho'olave. Now, Ho'olave was never settled permanently by the native Hawaiians. It's funny now. They went over there periodically to do good. But what has happened over there was as long as Pearl Harbor, the United States military took control of the island for the next 50 years, they used it as a missile range, target range, using all kinds of different weapons. So it took quite a beating. The good news is they didn't clean up on it. They did, I guess, what they could. But trust me when I tell you, you do not want to go shell collecting over there anytime soon. There's unexploded ordnance. They're not going to count it for. And actually, you cannot go over that mile up shore. So now take a special permit. And the latest planters have noticed in recent days, for reason, archaeological studies have found remnants of native Hawaiians that they're finding liquid intervention. The fishing was good. And also the southern tip of that island is a very important spot as far as navigation goes because the Polynesians came up from Tahiti. And that kind of southern point directed right towards that. So very important. Now, talking about the body of water that you find yourself moving in, which is also very unique. It's called the Ao Channel. And the Ao Channel, just about every single day of the year, it's nice and calm. You gotta remember, right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, nice and flat here. And Ao roughly translates to warm bath water, which is right about 8 degrees today. Nice and calm like this. And it's about 300 feet deep right in the middle, which is pretty deep in the grand scheme of things. you're up in that chute and the brakes stop in, you would find yourself in the water rather quickly. So parasail doesn't operate. Now I know